Hi guys, I thought I'd make a new video series about things that I like, because anyone who knows me knows that I like to collect all sorts of different things, retro things. So what I wanted to show you guys today was one of my knives, the Buck 110 folding hunter lockback knife. I got this a few years ago, and what it is, this is the most copied knife in the world. It's brass, wood inlay, and it's made by Buck. It's quite heavy, significantly heavy, compared to a lot of the knives that you see these days, folding knives. And it is a giant knife. It is huge. This blade, the clip point blade, is 3 3/4 inches, and it feels good in the hand, right? It's designed to be a multi-purpose thing. It's I guess it originally was designed with the purpose of for hunters. You could skin game with it. It came out of the box super sharp. It's still sharp. I actually haven't had to sharpen it yet. Yeah, it's a lockback knife. I'll explain to you what that is first of all. Here's another knife of mine, Swiss Army knife. Love this thing. Tons of tools on it. I use it all the time, even around the house when I have other tools. This is like my go-to tool around the house. Everything I need is on this thing. I've had this since I was a kid. I've had a couple of Swiss Army knives, and one of the things that always scared me as a kid with this knife is that, I mean, unless you were doing something very bad with it, like you didn't know what you were doing, you shouldn't hurt yourself. But one thing that always kind of, scared me was that there's nothing keeping the knife fixed. You see, it folds. There's no locking mechanism on the knife, and the blade part is on the bottom right here. So I was always worried as a kid if I was using this thing to, work with it, there was always that possibility that I might accidentally close the knife on my fingers. You see, because there's nothing keeping it locked in place. Right? It never did it. A couple of times I almost did. I can't remember what I was doing, but it almost closed on my fingers a couple of times. I managed to stop it before it did. But that was always a fear of mine. A lockback knife doesn't have that issue. If you look at the spine of the knife, you'll notice that the metal of the blade connects with this other piece of metal in the spine. This piece of metal area keeps it from folding in on itself. You see? This is a really well designed knife. There is no blade play at all. It doesn't flex. That was one of the appeals of this knife when it first came out, because it's a folding knife, yet it feels like a fixed blade knife. It feels like one solid piece when it's unlocked like this. And it will not close on itself. It will not close. The only way I can close a knife is if you see the spine here, follow it all the way over at the end here. You'll notice it's sticking up a bit with this finger groove here. If I press down here, that lifts up this end, and now I can close the knife. Right, so that's in closed position. But once I open it, that click says it's locked. It ain't closing. And this thing is heavy duty. I mean, I use it in the garden. I'm not a hunter or anything like that, so I haven't skinned game with it. But the sharpness of this thing, I haven't had to sharpen it yet. Cuts through pretty much everything I've tried cutting with it. And it feels great. Like it a lot. It's a gadget. I love gadgets. And I like the old style feel of it. I like the history that goes with this knife too. Right? Anyone who collects knives knows about the Buck 110. And they probably have one in their collection if they collect knives. And if you don't have one and you are interested in knives, definitely go out and get one. I got this one from Walmart a couple of years ago. I did some research, and Walmart was the cheapest price point I could find for this knife. I think I paid in the area of $44 for it. I think that's what I was paying for it. It was the cheapest version, and it came with this, a nylon sheath with a belt loop. And I'll be quite honest with you, I don't like it. I mean, it does the job. It's got the Buck logo. It just it doesn't seem to suit this knife. This knife has a really old school feel to it, but you got this kind of nylon, I don't know, I don't want to say tactical, but looks too modern to me to go with this knife. And then when I went online and looked up some research on this thing, I found out later that this knife is actually supposed to come with a leather sheath. So then I was like, what's going on here? I found out that one of the things about Walmart is when they got the rights to sell this knife at their stores, they wanted to sell it for a cheaper price. So how did they get away with selling it for a cheaper price? Well, first of all, they don't. It doesn't come with a leather sheath. It comes with a nylon sheath. It also comes in a plastic clamshell box. This came in a plastic clamshell box altogether, instead of the usual cardboard rectangular box that usually did come in before. So I went to House of Knives to see what this leather sheath looked like, and I gotta say, it definitely suits the knife a lot better. Here it is. So I went out and got one. This thing was $12 on its own. So I'll get to that in a second. And I think the leather definitely complements the knife a lot better. It feels better. The wood, the brass, the leather, it just goes way better together. And if you plan on using this knife as an everyday carry, you got to have a case on this thing. This thing's way too heavy to keep in your pocket. So whenever I do need to carry this thing around and do some work with it, I'm keeping it inside this leather case, around my belt. It's a great knife. And this case, see, now here's the thing. In the end, even though Walmart has it the cheapest, because I wanted the case, I ended up paying more money by buying the things separately. If I had just gone to House of Knives in the first place and bought their version of the knife, which comes with a leather case in the cardboard box with the knife, it actually only worked out to be like $3 or $4 more than the Walmart version, except I get a leather case. Doing it this way, I got the cheaper knife, but then I ended up spending $12 extra for the leather case, so I ended up paying more money by going to Walmart. Mind you, like I said, if all you can do is care about the knife and you don't really care about the case, then definitely go to Walmart. But if you want the leather case, definitely just go straight to House of Knives or anywhere else online. I've seen this selling this like a lot cheaper other places as well. But yeah, that case looks great, and it's a great knife. So this is one of the things I like. See you guys later.